So today we are on a brand new 81 Dojo account. You can see 0 games, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, nothing. What this account is for is a little challenge where I'm only allowed to play against people within 50 points of the account's rating, and I'm gonna try and get this account to 1 dan as quickly as possible. Now, the first 5 games, 6 actually, provisional games, I'm gonna reset it back afterward. So those will be a couple games that we'll just go through and analyze. And for each game, I'm gonna talk about my thought process. I'm not gonna try and talk through super advanced calculation. I'm just gonna try and talk about basic thought process and what I would do to beat people in, mid to high Q range, all the way up to 1 dan, and show how much you can get through these levels, get up to 1 dan, without, going and reading these crazy variations. I might, still do that from time to time. It's kind of automatic in some cases, but I want to show that you can win on fundamentals, and you don't, rating is also a fundamental, but you can get up to 1 dan with strategic fundamentals as well as good reading, and of course still do your sume and whatnot. But we're gonna use this as a thing of, we're getting to 1 dan on basic ideas, not through really difficult stuff. Right? Now we're gonna hop over to an 81 Dojo game. Right? Okay, so this, we've already, played a couple moves in this game. It's a 10:30 game, and you can see it's actually out of 50 points a little bit, but I'm not strictly playing within 50 points until after we're done with the provisional games, because I'm gonna reset the rating anyway. So, already we have a very common opening position. I'm gonna go ahead and play Ibisha here. I have been enjoying moving this silver in some Ibisha positions instead of pushing recently. But I'm gonna just go ahead and play with simple stuff here. Right, silver comes up. Probably for Ibisha could still be some kind of Gongi. Should definitely do this. Why not this gold first? There are some lines where they're actually playing Ibisha. This gold might prefer to be here. This silver is a bit more fluid. Okay. Silver comes up. And we're still well within the realm of Joseki here. I could also push this pawn. Who knows? Okay, this is Shiken Chanel. That is 4th file rook. Okay, definitely the right choice is to push this pawn. I don't necessarily need to move this silver up right away. I'm gonna go ahead and just start castling. Give myself a lot of options. There's a lot of cases the silver wants to stay here actually. Could even, maybe there's some lines like this, Okay. Pawn pushes. I don't love this move by Ibisha because actually pushing this pawn as Ibisha, Sadaku, it's Ibisha's tax. I'm gonna have to push this pawn anyway, and I probably really not making an edge attack over here. So them pushing this pawn almost feels like it's just them getting me this move that I want anyway for free, which is really nice since I'm Gote, so I don't lose this move. What might we do here? I'm thinking of playing Elmo, and then making an attack on this side, probably with the silver eventually. Okay. So this is really aggressive, and what they're telling me is they want to go here and attack this pawn. I'm not necessarily prepared to make my own rapid attack here, so let's think about this really quick. Am I really worried about losing this pawn? No, not necessarily. What I can do is push this pawn and then float my rook. And then the silver is kind of offsides a little bit. I can play here and then play with the closed bishop It's not that bad at all, especially considering maybe I want to play anaguma. Okay. So if I push here, they're probably gonna go here immediately, because now I can't trade bishops anymore. My silver should come up to prevent them from pushing again. And at that point, they still haven't made any moves toward castling. Their attack is kind of running out. Is there some crazy push here, Miki Shiken? I don't think I'm too concerned about that. Okay. Alright, they're starting to castle. They actually haven't opened this bishop immediately, which is interesting. If I start making anaguma, I mean, maybe they try some kind of Fuji system. I don't know. Regardless, I think it's okay for me to move this silver up. It's not a bad place for it. And it's still fluid. I have options. Okay. Yeah, we figured they would be doing this, so now it's just a different move order. Could move this gold up. Could continue castling. Could move this bishop, because I might want to move it later anyway. I'm gonna go ahead and continue castling for now. And I think that they probably have to castle. If they start some crazy fight right now, we're gonna be okay. Right? I think at this point I'm pretty sure I want to play anaguma. There is a slight problem in some positions. I'm on the bishop diagonal. I think they're also playing anaguma, honestly. Double anaguma here is going to be interesting. I want to close this diagonal as quickly as possible because I am on the bishop diagonal. Okay. One shape that I want to make is maybe bringing this gold up here. So going here immediately could be good. Going here could involve some stuff, you know, connect these generals. It is nice to have the option to go diagonally as well in some positions. Right now my bishop is a bit of a question mark. What am I doing with it? I can't quite open the bishop yet because he'll take after I capture. You know, I'm not breaking through here quite yet. What I could do is sacrifice this pawn. Pawn captures, push, bishop captures, silver captures. Maybe rook over will defend this here. And then I'm not quite breaking through. Because if I drop the bishop, they drop again. Capture, knight captures, bishop drop, and the gold can come up. Okay, it doesn't work. Is some kind of climbing gold a natural strategy here? Bringing it up here and then using this pawn. Push twice. I don't think so. This bishop can be quite nice here, and it's preventing any progress from being made. If I float my rook, this bishop can attack here, and if I come over, pawn push, and I just have to go back. Bishop's misplaced then. Maybe it has to go back. If I push, this rook can just come over here though. Okay. Usually I'm almost in Byoyomi already. This guy is... yeah, mid. Just opening so far. Why this gold first? And just keeping my generals connected. This is weird. I mean, loss of tempo, obviously. He's losing 2 moves by going back and forth. So, maybe it's wrong? What is his plan? Maybe he wants to advance here and try and make an attack? Okay. The first thing I notice is that maybe I can push this pawn up to the 5-5 square. And that would be a very strong pawn. If he captures it, I can go ahead and push my pawn here. And, there's no way to capture. Yeah, if he takes and I take, his rook can come over here, and we're trading rooks. Bishop takes. I have no really great rook drop except for here, maybe? At which point this gold probably comes back. Now that loses the silver. But I think his rook drop is more powerful than mine right now. Though it's very similar. Maybe if I go here immediately, moving this gold over, then his rook drop won't be as strong, and I can try for something like that. But if I wait, this silver is probably gonna come up, and maybe it'll be too late. If his silver comes up like that, can I push my pawn? Maybe. If the silver goes up, I can take, and push, but then the silver can take, or pawn can take defended by the silver. But if pawn takes, pawn push, the silver really has nowhere to go. If there's a bishop drop here, rook comes over, captures. It's a bishop sacrifice, but he does have some play here. That's dangerous. Gold up, and I just keep playing slow. Another option is sacrifice, captures, and silver up, which is just super aggressive. Or to sacrifice first, takes, push, takes, rook over. It's the same line. I don't ponder for anything. Where can I look to make progress? If I bring this gold up, I can maybe bring the rook over here and attack on this file. Especially since his golds haven't moved yet. Alright, I think the move that gives me the most options is this gold up. But we're entering Byoyomi already, so I may as well use all of my time here. Gold up. Maybe this rook comes over. My bishop has to do something. Pushing this pawn could be good, since it's fighting against his plan of, silver here. I could even play like this. Silver up, pawn push. Yes, okay, that's the move. Pawn push, rook over. Captures. Seems okay. Pawn push. Rook up, captures. Maybe that's a way to go as well. But if I play up, then he can go here.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Rook over. It's probably the best move. Rook over. Now, I don't think that's good, because then I just take. Rook over, takes. I suppose redrop the pawn, and then come here. I've got a pawn in hand. This rook maybe wants to come over here, but it's not that bad.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Now, I want to support this pawn with the rook, because, well, obviously the goal is just to retake the pawn, but I'm improving my rook in doing so, and I'm, not losing anything for it. If I just take and followed by silver takes, there would be a big attack over here, and I really wouldn't be gaining all that much. So, playing in this order is much better.
20秒。1、 2、3、4、5、6、7、8。
Yeah, this is really strong. Yeah, this is, of course, exactly what we calculated. Now I have an option. Do I go back and stay on this file, or do I move back to here?
10秒。
I think the better choice is this, because it comes with a threat of this pawn drop. Bishop would go back, pawn push, and I'm breaking through. What can he do?
20秒。
Probably has to play opposing rook there.
4、5、
Or gold up,
6、
but that's awkward.
7、8、9。
Why is gold up awkward? Because, you know, we're weakening our castle and not really gaining much for it. Now I have an idea of this bishop coming back, coming here, and starting to aim at this king, which would be really nice. This knight also can come up this way, maybe? But it is blocking the bishop if I do that. Or not quite blocking the bishop, but blocking where the bishop might want to go. Alright, we had read this. I should open my bishop here, because look at this diagonal. We're attacking the silver, the bishop, and the rook all at once. Or, oh, I can attack the bishop, and once the bishop retreats, I can open my bishop gold up.
2、3、
Narayo.
4、5。
Yes, I think this move order is better, and pushing the pawn here would be a losing move. Because, well, I simply take it. Maybe not. Well, if I take it and bishop takes, then I take here. Bishop comes back, takes is okay. So, instead, yeah. Okay, now I need to calculate. Take the pawn, if rook takes, bishop takes, I'm winning a silver. And the rook drop here isn't so severe. That seems more than good enough. And if I take, followed by bishop takes, I take the silver immediately. And the bishop doesn't have a good square.
1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8、9。
So, our opponent misunderstood the sabaki of these pieces, obviously. This bishop comes back here. We just trade again. And actually, that would be a blunder, because now I'm dropping a rook here even faster. And yeah, I have a very strong attack. Yes, we calculated this move. It was actually one of the main moves I thought about. I think
10
there's a
秒。
couple ideas, but I think it's best to put the gold here. Because it's out of the way of the rook. And if I go here, I'm on the same
20
diagonal as
秒。
this bishop,
1、
which could get really dangerous eventually.
4、5、6、7、8、9。
And if he comes here to attack the gold again, I'm just gonna use the silver, go back like this, and then like this eventually maybe. We 4-piece anaguma. I think he's just gonna take the knight. Yep. Okay. Now for our own attack. Rook drop here
10
is an option.
秒。
Rook drop here is an option. I don't like this gold here. Actually, taking this lance might be
20 秒。
impossible.
1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。
There's a
Good.
tactic. Going here is best, actually, because even once he defends, I can take the knight, and I pin the bishop in doing so. Though this way could be wrong. Can I sacrifice the bishop?
10秒。
Takes. And what does he have in hand?
20秒。1、2、
Can I go here
Some-
next?
4、5、
No, I don't think it's necessary.
7、8。
In fact, I can see a better idea immediately. this bishop is pinned, the dragon is its only defender. I'm just going to slow play here, because I want to play this next, this pawn push, and after captures, I have a very strong pawn trap. Sacrificing the bishop was probably winning as well, but with so little time, I decided that this is safer. It's also winning, so I don't need to spend my chances at this game on a risk like that. I wasn't 100% sure that the sacrifice was winning, and there's an easy win as well. So I don't need to go for a very flashy win like that when I already have such a big advantage. I'm up a silver, my castle is slightly stronger, and I have a much better bishop. This bishop is pinned, it's not very good. Okay. This is actually a very good move, by the way. But and it does lose the bishop, because I can drop a silver here. It's a winning move. Well, I mean, everything's winning. Though I might ask if it's even necessary.
1, 2, 3,
Oh,
4,
no, it's actually a blunder.
5,
Because they beat this.
6, 7, 9.
The same idea is definitely not bad. Because if the gold comes in here, this will be hanging, and there will be a strong silver drop here. I'm not scared of a knight drop here, because my silver can just keep defending. It's actually what's going to be played, isn't it? Knight drop. Actually should do some speed counting here. If this knight drop happens and I capture here, captures, 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 I am faster. So this knight drop might be entirely wrong, just because maybe I can just take immediately. No. Again? Do I have to? I have a big enough advantage that I'll win by just slowing down the game. Is it important to turn this into a race when he's already going to be in a bad position? Questionable. By the way, the reason I couldn't drop this over here is that there's actually a really nice move, this dragon coming up and attacking the gold. At which point, taking this bishop would be a terrible mistake because this is just way more important. Oh, no. Well, here I believe this is...
10秒
Well, it's not a move that can ever be good. Why is it wrong?
20秒
We need some counterplay. We need pieces for counterplay. And if we're throwing away our only attacking piece,
6
that's not going to happen.
8 9
I can just keep making more pressure here. If he takes the pawn, I make a pawn drop. The gold has to go somewhere, and I make a silver drop. This knight drop is also useful in another way. There are some variations where this silver gets displaced somehow, and this captures our daters. It would be very misguided for him to try and attack the knight right now. There's just more important things in the position than this knight. See here, just knight takes, promoting. Okay. Well, this was the move we believed was most dangerous, and I have a choice here. I'm actually
10秒
going to go ahead and take this lance, because a lance drop here is a lot stronger than a pawn drop. And yeah, my bishop's not perfect here, but it is protecting my dragon if there's ever some tactic on this line. And it can come back, become an amazing defender. And now I have a lance to ensure this attack will be at its absolute strongest. Normally, we don't maybe want to take that hostage piece. But in this case, we have a great use for it that speeds up our attack. We're improving a piece, because the bishop here was active, but this line is so close that we're not doing much with it anytime soon. Right, okay. His idea here is to try and sacrifice this bishop and then
10秒
take the dragon. I guess. It feels like we're looking at a desperate attack here. If I go here, takes is
20
this lance drop. A
Ni-
problem? No, I
San-
have a pawn drop.
4 5
If captures, I don't capture the bishop, I just capture the dragon. The bishop will remain hanging, and if it takes over here, my dragon will just come right back and attack. I think this is still a winning position. Still reading, captures. Captures should I promote? Unpromoting is much more forceful because I'm attacking this gold immediately. And gold up doesn't work. I can simply take the knight with my dragon. Taking this knight, Van is losing because there's a threat mate here. Okay. This is just silly, isn't
10
it?
秒
Obviously, I capture. And dropping a pawn is too much to handle. Say I take the knight. Gold comes back.
10秒
Yeah, we talked about this tactic earlier. I said before, if something ever happens where this line is open, I can sacrifice the knight and take the gold because the silver will be misplaced. And now we're seeing this exact tactic coming into play. Because if this gold goes back, this knight sacrifice wins on the spot. Okay. I still should technically be using my whole Byoyomi to think about
これより秒読みに入
what
ります
comes next, but I'm very certain he doesn't have any counterplay here, so I'm being a bit greedy and just
10
rushing.
秒
Which, yes, it's not perfect. That said, lance drop here is forced, and my next move is this knight drop because the knight is pinned. I'm just gonna take the knight and win the game. If the silver comes back, I can just take it. Knight takes, gold drop wins, and just like that,
10秒
it's going to be Ishii. So what if he takes here, some desperate attack? He doesn't have nearly enough. He's going to do it.
20秒
Knight drop here, silver takes.
$10 秒
General concepts to talk about in this game. We're always interested in, double anaguma is an interesting fight. I think what went wrong for him is just the tactics on this diagonal. We go. Okay. Let's switch to the smaller board really quick. I really want to analyze a bit. I'm happy to analyze. Oh. Never mind. Okay. So, this was a very interesting game. And I'm gonna go move over to Lee Shogi to talk about the analysis a little bit right now. Alright, let's go ahead and quickly analyze this game. Flip the board so that I'm at the bottom. There were some interesting points of this game, but actually, and I changed some of the engine annotations. Some of the things it called inaccurate I thought were actually much more. But if we go over to the engine tab, it shows that my opponent actually played a very clean game. yes, I made no real mistakes, but it's important to see, like, our opponent didn't play really awfully. I changed one mistake to call it a blunder and a couple inaccuracies to call them mistakes because practically they were more worse than the engine called them. But I did want to highlight that my opponent, sudden Q played a very, very clean game here. And even in these low-rated games, we have to play quite precisely to take an advantage and really aim to win. So, moving forward, let's take a look really quickly at what happened, just reviewing. The opening was all pretty normal, and my opponent obviously chose this very, very aggressive way of playing. And it would have been very easy to go wrong in my position. While checking with the engine, I did double check another idea that I had in the game, but I didn't point out. And I didn't go with this idea, mostly because I wanted to highlight a different kind of game. Yes, I could have gone like this and played King's Head Vanguard Pawn. This is an opening I am very familiar with, and one that I actually quite like. But it's unique, and I wanted to make this video more on a different kind of system. So I didn't choose it for that reason, rather than, if it was my own tournament game, yes, I would probably play King's Head Vanguard Pawn here instead. Instead I chose this line. It's a bit more calm, I guess you could say. And there was one line I was concerned about him playing here, which is actually very aggressive. And suddenly playing right-hand fourth file rook, or migi shikanbisha. There's a lot of attacking going on here, but I decided I'm okay with it, especially since my king is already out of the way. And something I commented on in the game is that if a crazy fight starts, my king is a bit safer than his. Off in the middle of the ward here. Even some more moves that might have happened. Something like this. And again, I thought this is quite an okay position for me, but it's one to think about. Okay. So, continuing with the game here, we wound up playing in this order, and we both made anaguma, which... How do I describe anaguma? The whole point of it is that the kings are very far away from the fight. Not necessarily that it's actually that solid of a castle. In fact, there are a lot of castles I feel are more solid on their own than anaguma is, but anaguma has the advantage of being further away. That means, in a tough endgame, if one side is using anaguma and the other is not, the king in the quarter will often be one move further away from the opponent's attack, meaning that anaguma can win by making a brinkmate or a hishi, even by making a lot of sacrifices, since they're one move further away from being checkmated. That doesn't necessarily mean the castle is more solid. It's quite easy to break through given time, but that time is very valuable, and in a tough fight, well, it might be decided by the amount of time. Double anaguma now means neither of us have that direct advantage, but depending on the pacing of the fight, we still could have a similar situation occur. If I'm attacking a lot faster, my king is still going to be one square further away, and I can ignore the opponent's attack in some cases. We'll see what happens. You've already seen what happens, but we'll see how it works out. Now, I in the game said that this move was wrong, but actually checking it with the engine, it's considered to be an okay move. Though not one of the main moves of the engine. It wants to just keep castling, or even to move this rook over and try and start a fight. But it doesn't consider this silver move to be all that much worse. The evaluation is about the same. So, since I'm already slightly better, as you can see, we could argue that this silver coming out so early was really what the mistake was, and not moving this over back later. If you can call it a mistake at all. It's just an element of the position. Starting the fight over here was the first real mistake of this game. And you can see it really is in my favor now. What he should have done is just continue castling. Remember, these generals are far away from the king, and they're not actually connected to the silver yet. We should finish the castle before starting a fight. And the reason for that is because once the fight starts, it will probably be too late. So, another thing is saying, is starting a fight here really good for Sente? Yes, if I take this pawn, which would be probably a blunder, this silver will take, and this attack here will be very dangerous. But if I don't take the pawn, and I make the best move in the position, then I'm just doing very well. How do you stop me from taking this pawn on the next move? It's impossible. So this pawn trade has to happen. And after redropping the pawn, we haven't accomplished anything other than giving me a pawn in hand and creating a hole here, which this pawn conveniently can go right into. And that matters in this immediate position, by the way, because now, if we keep castling, this pawn drop is very powerful. Instead, he goes ahead and moves the rook, which is a smart move, because it is preventing me from attacking here. It's a good defense. Also possible would be to play third file rook, because now, if I drop the pawn, and the bishop comes back, I can't attack. But we have to be a little more careful than that, because I would still have a very strong move, like this. Maybe this gold can come up here, and the position is a bit tense. I'm not sure if I'm really that much better like the ancient is saying. Okay. So, instead, maybe I should push the pawn immediately, rather than dropping the pawn here. And what's gonna happen is I now have a threat of dropping, because if the bishop leaves, the silver can be hanging. Say he continues to castle once again. Here, the bishop has to go back this way, otherwise he would lose the silver. And this attack is very severe. Okay. So this move was quite good. Now, I go ahead and open my bishop, because my bishop now is on a very powerful diagonal. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 important pieces I'm attacking here. That's a big deal. Now, the best move in this position is for my opponent to move their gold up and over-defend these pieces a little bit. Yes, it is a concession, because now they're only going to have 1 gold in their castle rather than 2. And that means my castle is going to be stronger than... And yes, I'm still having a lot of attacking going. But the move they played is a blunder. And here the correct move for me is to just take. Rook takes is one option, though I'm not sure if it's actually the best option. What wound up happening in the game... Whoops. What wound up happening in the game is captures, 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 and captures. And critically, this bishop was in a very bad place. It's looking at a pawn, it's on an awkward diagonal, and it doesn't really have anywhere to go. In fact, it wound up getting pinned to his dragon, causing both major pieces to become completely immobile. So, maybe a slightly better attempt would be to take with the bishop, because the silver is lost anyway, bring the bishop back, and then take the bishop like this. Yes, here I have 2 dragons, and the attack is very strong because of that. Maybe I can even sacrifice one like this, and of course this attack is very severe. But maybe it offers some more practical chances for him. Who knows? Whoops. Did not mean to do that. Yes, attacking here with the rook is obviously a nice move. And we continued fighting. I mentioned this a moment ago. This pin was a very important piece of the position because this bishop can't move anymore, and the dragon has to continue protecting that bishop. If his dragon ever moves or his bishop ever moves, I'll take the other piece and all of his chances will disappear. But he did have a way to try and save both, which would be to move the dragon up here, because now if I capture the bishop, he can capture this gold, and this might be enough to even turn the position around. The attack is so close to my king, and these generals are all a lot of trouble. If the school comes back, for instance, the dragon is going to stay very close. Of course, this offers more chances than the other lines, and is a much better trade for the bishop. In the sense of getting up that bishop for this important gold is very good, rather than leaving the bishop over here, where it's not a very good piece. In fact, it can't even move. Similar ideas will be important later. So I decided. Also, what I did consider was this bishop sacrifice. And I'm not sure if it's really great. It is still winning for me according to the engine, and I don't really see a way out of it for him in hindsight. Maybe it would have been an okay choice, but the way I chose was not that bad. You know, obviously if he lets me drop a piece here, the game will probably end on the spot. So, it's unclear what he should actually do. This obviously, well, not obviously, this was a bad move because it's a move that only defends, and in the endgame that's not something you really want. Especially if only defending requires dropping a piece. We would much rather use the pieces in hand to attack if we can get away with it. What else? The engine suggested this pawn capture, followed by the same knight drop that I wound up using in the game, and this crazy pawn move. Now, of course, the position is still bad for Sente because of this tactic, but the engine wanted to play in this way. Of course, I'm still winning here, but it's willing to go for some really crazy stuff just to make counterplay. Well, promoting the pawn would obviously not be okay. It wants to go here. Promoting the pawn, I would just checkmate. Yep, it wants to drop this rook, and it really will go to extreme lengths just to try and make counterplay, because just sitting around and defending won't be enough. Of course, I'll wind up winning anyway. Yeah, this wasn't the best move in the position. Again, the engine would prefer to go in the way that makes some counterplay. We do lose the important gold, but there's this lance drop to try and continue fighting. And it is a losing position. But even in a losing position, you can always look for something. If you just play a defensive move, and a defensive move, and a defensive move, and a defensive move, you're going to lose anyway, eventually. You need to somehow look for a way to attack and defend at the same time. Because when we just defend, and just defend, and just defend, the attacking side will eventually win. If we try and look for some attempt to attack and defend at the same time, that's when we might have a chance to come back into the game. Well, here, it didn't exist. But it's still important to know that my opponent, a 7Q, was playing a really good game. It was not a bad game by my opponent at all. There was really only one big mistake that happened, which was this. Of course, this was a mistake too, but it's not some terrible mistake. It's just okay. I mean, yeah, it gives me a better position, but it's not instantly losing the game. it's not obviously bad. And what's wrong with it is just a very small detail. So, sometimes even games against somebody like a 7Q, we need to look to play precisely whenever we can, because our opponents are still going to play very good shogi. And this is an example of a game where my opponent was actually playing very well for almost all of the game. There were only a couple of small points that I was able to take advantage of to wind up winning. And it really was quite a difficult game. So props to my opponent, and hopefully the rest of the games on climbing this account to 1 Dan will both be interesting like this one. But, wow, I was quite more difficult than I was expecting it to be. Maybe that's what I get for bullying people. All in the name of hopefully these videos being a bit instructive. Thank you for joining.